You do not apply to join MS-13. Nobody hands you a form. Nobody sits you down for an interview. Most kids who enter this world do not pick it because it sounds exciting. They pick it because every legitimate ladder around them is already broken. You are 14 years old. You arrived in the United States from El Salvador 6 months ago as an unaccompanied minor. Your English is weak. School is a dead end. Work is impossible without papers. Home is a cramped apartment full of other people barely surviving. You have no money, no status, and no clear future. Then older guys on the block start talking to you. They speak Spanish. They know where you're from. They tell you to stand on a corner for 2 hours and text them if police cars come through. $20. Easy money. You do it once. Then again. Then again. That is how it starts. Not with a grand oath, not with instant violence, with a kid realizing that for the first time since crossing the border, somebody is paying attention to him. Level 1. The lookout. At the bottom of the ladder, you are a postie, a lookout. Your job sounds simple. Watch the street, learn which cars belong, learn which ones do not. Memorize who lives nearby, when the police roll through, when local businesses open, when the neighborhood gets crowded, when it gets quiet. You become a living sensor for the clique. And while you do that, they study you too. This is the chequeo phase, the probation period. They want to know if you can follow directions, keep your mouth shut, and stay useful under pressure. You are not a member. You are a test subject with a phone. Some kids disappear at this stage. They get scared, they find day labor, they move away. But most of the boys standing on those corners do not have better options waiting for them. So they stay. And staying changes your life fast. The older members start treating you like you matter. You eat more regularly, you stop feeling invisible. The block begins to feel like yours because you understand it better than anyone else. That is the first trap. MS-13 does not recruit with ideology first. It recruits with belonging. After a few months, they ask the real question. Do you want in? If the answer is yes, then you do not earn entry with words. You earn it with pain. 13 members form a circle. Someone counts slowly to 13. For those 13 seconds, they beat you. Fists, boots, elbows. You do not swing back. You do not run. You curl up and take it. If you stay conscious and get back on your feet, they call you a homeboy. Outsiders hear that and think you just reached the top of something. You did not. You just earned the right to obey. Level 2, the soldier. Now the real hierarchy begins. As a new homeboy, you attend meetings, follow rules, and do what older members tell you. Miss a meeting and you get punished. Lose clique property and you get punished. Show weakness in public and you get punished. MS-13 is not held together by friendship. It is held together by fear, discipline, and constant examples of what happens to people who step out of line. Then comes your first real assignment. A rival has been seen in the neighborhood. He disrespected the clique. He needs to be handled. Someone hands you an address. Someone hands you a gun. Someone tells you that if you want to move up, this is how that happens. That is the real promotion system. In MS-13, advancement is not earned through seniority. It is earned through willingness. The ones who rise are the ones who volunteer first, hesitate least, and prove they value the clique above their own safety. So you do the job. Maybe you tell yourself there was no choice. Maybe you stop asking whether there was. Either way, after it is done, your reputation changes. The clique stops seeing you as a kid who watches corners and starts seeing you as a soldier. This is where most members spend the bulk of their lives. You collect extortion payments, you distribute drugs, you carry weapons, you patrol territory, you show up when violence is needed. The clique functions like a criminal business, and you are now one of the workers who keeps it operating. The money is still not great, but it is better than anything legal you are likely to find. It is enough to survive, enough to feel useful, enough to believe there is a ladder here worth climbing. And once you believe that, the machine has you. Because now you can see the men above you, the older members with authority, the ones who make decisions instead of waiting for them, the ones whose names get spoken carefully at meetings, the ones who seem to have money, respect, and control. You want that. So, when dangerous work comes up, your hand goes up first. Risky drug run? You take it. Possible retaliation? You show up. Need someone to carry out a violent order? You do not hesitate. Every job adds to your standing. Every successful act of obedience becomes another line on a resume no court would ever recognize, but the clique absolutely does. That is how you stop being muscle and start becoming someone the organization notices. Level 3. The runner. After a few years, the clique offers you a different role, not because you have become safer, because you have become more trusted. One of the corridors is being moved. They need someone else to carry messages, coordinate meetings, relay orders, and move between cliques. That someone might be you. This rung matters because it changes what you can see. As a soldier, your world was one neighborhood, one clique, one set of faces. As a runner, the map expands. You travel between cities. You sit in apartments and basements with men from other cliques. You carry instructions that cannot be trusted to a phone. You begin to understand that your neighborhood is only one cell in something much larger. That is when the mythology becomes structure. Your clique is part of a city network. That city network belongs to a larger program. And above those American programs sits the symbolic upper tier in El Salvador, the Ranfla Nacional, imprisoned leaders whose influence still stretches across borders. Orders, money, legitimacy, retaliation, discipline, all of it moves through chains built by men many younger members will never meet. And yet the view from this rung also teaches you something else. The system is not as clean as outsiders imagine. People talk about MS-13 like one perfectly unified empire. It is not. American cliques often operate with real autonomy. El Salvador provides identity, prestige, and strategic direction, but local leaders make local decisions. Power inside the organization is partly centralized and partly fragmented. That fragmentation creates opportunity. You start learning who matters, who talks to whom, which cliques are strong, which shot callers are weak, where money flows, how disputes are settled, how ambitious men position themselves before leadership gaps appear. This is the rung where you stop being just an enforcer and start becoming a political animal. And in a gang like this, politics is just violence delayed. Level 4, the shot caller. Then the opening comes. Your clique leader gets arrested. Federal agents hit him with a RICO case. The indictment is huge. Wiretaps, surveillance, cooperating witnesses, maybe bodies tied to his name. He is gone now, at least from the street. The clique needs someone else to run it. There is no election. There is only the question that governs every hierarchy built on fear. Who can take power and keep it? You are not the only candidate. 2 other members think the position should be theirs. One has more years in. Another has a reputation for violence. But you have something they do not. Through runner work, you built relationships outside the clique. You understand how the wider system works. You know who to talk to, who to flatter, who to threaten, and who needs to believe you are the safest choice. So you begin building support. One rival backs off. He sees the room shifting. The other does not. The challenge does not come with formal speeches or debates. It comes with the understanding that whoever walks out with the clique's respect will lead it. It turns violent, because of course it does. In an organization like this, leadership is not about who sounds strongest. It is about who can prove strength under pressure in front of witnesses. When it ends, you are still standing. That is enough. At 24, you become the shot caller. Now you run the neighborhood. 30 people answer to you. Territory answers to you. Money flows through you. Extortion demands, drug operations, discipline, promotions, punishment, retaliation. All of it becomes your responsibility. If a business refuses to pay, you decide how hard to push. If a member is suspected of talking to police, you decide whether he gets beaten, tested, or killed. If a rival clique crosses the line, you decide the response. For the first time, the money feels real. The power feels real too. But so does the target. Because now law enforcement knows your name, rival gangs know your name. Your own members are studying your every move for weakness. You are no longer one body hidden in a crowd. You are the face attached to the case file. That is the lie at the top of the ladder. The soldiers below you think you have freedom. What you actually have is visibility. And visibility is what gets you killed or indicted. Level 5. The cage. You last a few years if you are lucky. Then one morning, federal agents hit the door before sunrise. They have a 90-page indictment. Your name is everywhere. Extortion, drug trafficking, firearms, conspiracy, maybe murder, maybe videos sent up the chain as proof jobs were completed, maybe testimony from younger members trying to save themselves, maybe months of surveillance that turn your rise into paperwork. Now the same ladder you climbed becomes evidence. This is the final trap in the MS-13 system. At the bottom, kids think the top means escape. More money, more respect, more power. But the higher you climb, the more crimes you authorize, the more witnesses you create, the more digital proof gets generated, and the more valuable you become to prosecutors trying to build a RICO case big enough to make headlines. Some shot callers die first. Others go to prison for decades. Some keep influence behind bars through visitors, phones, family members, corrupt staff, or sheer reputation. A few become part of leadership structures that still pretend the organization is expanding. But whether you die on the street or in a concrete box, the result is the same. The top of the ladder is not freedom, it is a cage with better visibility. And somewhere right now, a 14-year-old kid is standing on a corner for $20, watching for police cars, feeling seen for the first time in months. He does not know he just stepped onto a path that ends in a morgue, a life sentence, or a prison cell where the only power left is the ability to ruin someone else's life from a distance. He just knows somebody offered him a way in. That is how the machine survives, not because the ladder leads anywhere good, but because for the people at the bottom, it still looks like the only ladder left.